Today, we welcome Sarah Riforgiate, an associate professor and undergraduate internship director for the communication department at the College of Letters and Sciences. Dr. Riforgiate holds a PhD in communication studies at Arizona State University, and her research concentrates on the intersections of organizational and interpersonal communication, particularly in regards to public paid work and private life. Today, she is going to share, well, maybe communicate is a better word, with us how to improve online discussion and student interaction. Welcome, Dr. Riforgiate. I would clap. Here we go. Everyone else is clapping.
Thank you, Lane. Thanks so much for being here. And I hope I can give you some interesting ideas and things to think about as you're thinking about how you can get students to interact more in your classes, both online, and these are tools actually that I'm using to continue conversations outside of my in-person classes this semester. The tools that I'm going to share with you today, I learned about through the UW system Canvas certification course that was, they sent out an email last semester, and it's been a long course so far. We've had, it started in April, and I have one more course of the 6 to go. But they taught us to integrate some different tools into Canvas. And so I'm just going to share some of those tools with you today. So thank you for joining us, and I'm really excited to get started here. Let's see. So the first one I want to share with you is a tool called Flipgrid. And one of my goals this semester, I'm teaching an in-person graduate course, but it's a course that is an intro to master's students. And we have a separate faculty member teaching the intro to PhD students. And so normally we like to have the professors come into our course that are in our department. We have the students read about the research, and then the students talk about that research with the professors. But since the class is being offered on 2 different days at completely different times, I needed to figure out a way to allow my students to continue the conversation outside of class. So they'll watch the video of the professor that visited in the other class, and they use Flipgrid to continue this conversation outside of class. Now, there were a lot of different goals that I had. With brand new master students, I really wanted to create a cohort effect. So the first thing I wanted to do was build stronger between student relationships. The other thing is that I really wanted them to continue these scholarly conversations, and because they were watching the faculty videos at all different times, it was necessary to figure out an asynchronous way for them to have the conversations. And so I was looking for a tool that would help me do that. Now, this could also be really useful for online asynchronous courses or any kind of work that you want students to do asynchronously where they actually converse with each other. Some of the constraints that were really important to me was it needed to be free. I feel like students pay for an awful lot for their education, so I was not going to have them use a tool that they have to pay for. It had to be really simple to use. I am a complete Luddite, so not only has to be simple for me to administer, but I wanted it to be really simple for my students to use so that the learning could happen in the conversations and not in the trying to figure out all the technology. And then finally, it had to be able to integrate with Canvas, which goes into that easy to use. And so the Wisconsin Systems Canvas Certified Educator Program, because they endorse this and use this as one possible way of continuing conversations, I knew it was something that the UW system had approved and I could easily use it in Canvas. So what is Flipgrid? Basically, it's an interactive video space that can be embedded into Canvas. So students record a short video and you can set time parameters on how long you want them to be able to record. And then they're able to record video responses to each other's video. And we're going to try it out today. But before we do that, I want to show you how easy it is to set up. Because if I can do it, anybody can do it. So that's basically what it is, though. It's these short videos that students watch of each other, and then they respond to each other and really continue that conversation. So some of the benefits to using this are that students can actually talk to each other. It's really cool to watch. So I'm excited you'll get a chance to see it in action. It also really increases engagement. So because students are talking with each other, but you can also see those conversations, you can replay conversations, you can think about the conversations. The students also can watch each other's videos multiple times and think about them and really come up with good and interesting responses to each other. And then it also met my need to allow them to continue those conversations asynchronously. Now, Lane always asks for my pain points. What do you need to think about when you do this? So here are, I wouldn't say they're necessarily pain points, but really important things to consider. Oh, I'm sorry, before I move there, you can actually see the engagement in Canvas. So there were 9 responses because I have 9 graduate students in this particular course. And you'll see this was a week ago. There were 157 views, 28 comments, and 8.6 hours of engagement on the particular thread for one of the speakers. And then if you click on that 8.6 hours of engagement, it takes you to another screen where it tells you the total engagement across all of the topics. So thus far, I've had students post an introduction and 2 continue the conversations. And you'll see there's 6 topics, 29 responses, 81 replies, 631 views, which is pretty amazing, and 27.6 hours of engagement. Now, that's not me spending 26 hours. That's an accumulation of everybody. But the fun fact is this group has 1 day and 4 hours of engagement, and that's how long it takes to ride Amtrak's Empire Builder from Chicago to Portland. So you can get that kind of statistic and actually see the students are engaging in this space. And I think that's a good sign that it's working. Okay, so some considerations or pain points. The first is, just like any discussion board posts, you really need to provide some clear prompts and expectations. So what do you want the students to answer or do in this space? The other thing is think about time limits. So for these Flipgrid posts, you're going to be able to set time limits on how long students can talk. I was really glad that for my graduate students, I set a maximum of 3 minutes because it could easily expand to fill the time. Lane and I talked about this yesterday. It's like, conversations can be like gas, they just expand. So think about how long it takes for somebody to give you a concise answer, but also think about how much time do you want to be watching the videos and how much time do you want your students to engage in watching the videos. So certainly an important consideration. Just like discussion board posts that are, on Canvas, stagger your due dates for the post, the initial post and the response post. What I have found, at least through using it this semester with my students, is that if there's a deadline, they will hit that deadline for the initial post. And then I've been sending out reminders because there's a few people that will forget to do the response posts. And then I send a reminder and they immediately get them up there. So setting clear deadlines for both and then sending a quick reminder to students that haven't responded works really well for making sure those conversations are happening the way that you want them to happen. Think about how involved you want to be. In this case, I am spending a lot of time. I give an individual written post to each of my graduate students on their initial post. Initially, I had also done some videos, but I try to respond because I want to be part of the conversation. That doesn't necessarily have to be the case. You could certainly give an overview, quick video on your announcements or on Canvas using pages that responds to kind of the commonalities across the discussion thread. Or if you're meeting synchronously in real time, you could always kind of recap those conversations. But for me, at least initially, I wanted those students to know that I was really paying attention to what they were thinking, because I want to think with them. So I am spending a lot more time than I really actually need to. I do listen to the videos a little bit on fast speed, on 1.5 times speed. So that's helpful to me in managing my time. But think about how involved you want to be. And then finally, if you have a larger class, I really encourage you to break those students into smaller groups. So with 9 students, it's completely manageable and they can listen to each other. And again, I'm working for that cohort effect. But if I had 25 students, I would break them into groups of 6 or 7, maybe even 5, depending on what my prompts were. And I would only use it, sparingly, depending on how many students. I might also set a shorter time limit. You could decide you just want to use this once in a semester for initial introductions. The coolest thing about doing introductions on this was that I got to see all of my students' whole faces and their expressions without wearing masks. And so for me, that was really valuable. So those are just some considerations. So, okay, the Flipgrid's so great. How involved is this and how hard is it to set up? All right, so the first thing that you would do is you would go to flipgrid.com. And you'll see a screen that looks like this. It's got a bunch of different video pictures. And all you do is you click on educator sign up. It took me less than 5 minutes to sign up. You put in your information. It's free as an educator to go in and set this up. It is also free for students, which was really important to me. So once you click on that blue button for educator sign up, you put in your email address and a little bit of information. And that's it for signing up. Now, you still have to set everything up. So here's how you do that. The first thing you'll do then, once you get into the site, is you'll see a few things. The arrow is pointing to the plus group. That's how you add a group. So you'll see right now, if you look on the left side of the screen, that I have an active teaching lab group and that I have a communication 800 group. The communication 800 is my group of students. The active teaching lab, I put a fish in there because I keep thinking about Dory in this time of the semester and just keep swimming, right? So you get to click on that plus group button. And then what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to customize your group. So you'll see at the top, there's kind of a colorful image. You can click on the edit theme and choose from a variety of different images to put in there. Like I said, I chose books for my graduate students. I chose a fish for the active teaching lab. And then with the first arrow on the left, you'll see where it's pointing to name your group. You have 45 characters and you can name your group. And then underneath that, towards the right, you'll see the arrow that says create group. So you choose your picture, you put your name in, you hit create group. It's really that simple to create your initial group. Now, once you do that, you have the ability of adding members. So for my class, I put in the students' specific emails. And that way, only those students can access the group. So it's contained. I don't have a bunch of other people watching their videos. And so you can control it in that way. I did not add members for the active teaching lab. Instead, I did a workaround where I use a password. But you are able to have specific members in your group and you can add them right there. The other thing is that once you have a group, that kind of contains your course, but you need to add topics so that they can actually have the conversations. So you would use that button on the lower right side that says add topic plus topic. So look for the blue buttons. And then once you do that, you'll get a details screen. So here you'll see you can create the topic. So you've got a group name that is the overview, and then a specific topic name that is for that particular conversation thread. And then you're also able to put in a description of what you want students to do. So usually in the description, I give them the prompt that I want them to talk about. I tell them how long they have to talk so that they know when they're going to be cut off. And you can also add other directions in there. You have 1,000 characters, so you can't go too crazy. So think about how you can create prompts that kind of give them something to say and share with each other. And then you would just click on the save to group, which is at the very bottom. Now, before I would save, I would go into the settings. So if you look at the create topic, and then there's the details, which is underlined, instead of clicking on details, you can click on settings. And this is what the settings look like. So here you want to look at a few things. You can make the group active, and you can put specific dates in there to schedule it. You can also decide how long you want your recording time to be. So as I said, I thought 3 minutes would be just about right. I put a minute and 30 seconds in for our group to practice with, but you can change that time. So just keep in mind, you can make those adjustments. And then here is my workaround for the active teaching lab, where there is the arrow, the second arrow down on the left, it says guest password, and you can type in a password and that will let anybody get into the group. It's the secret password. So we'll give you the secret password in a minute, and then you just save the group, right? So most of this is really intuitive. If I can do it, I'm confident you can do it. Okay, so this is what it then looks like. I typed in the title for this particular discussion as Active Teaching Lab Practice. So you'll see that kind of in the middle of the screen on the left. And then I gave you the directions. Please record a short video sharing what you love most about teaching. To do this, press the record button and start talking. So when we get into the Canvas and we do this, you'll see this prompt. It's as simple as pressing a button for the student. And you will have up to 1.5 minutes to capture your answer. And then when you're done, make sure you press save. If the student doesn't save, then it won't save the response. Now, you'll see a couple arrows here. One points at the join code. So if people want to go to the flipgrid.com site, they can put in the join code, and that's one way for them to enter. But there's really a much easier workaround, and I'm going to show you how to embed this directly into Canvas so it pops up right into a page and students can see it and just press record. And then the other thing, and this is what I'm going to show you now, is there's an upward arrow pointing at kind of a little box with an upward arrow. That's how you can save this in a variety of different ways. So if you click on that button, what you'll see is it'll pop up and it will say share this topic. And you can share it with a QR code, which I'll show you what the QR code looks like in a minute. You can tweet it, you can put it in Teams, you can do a whole bunch of different things. But what I want you to do is think about copying the HTML code, because if you have a Canvas page and you copy the HTML code, it is as simple as copying and pasting. So what I did was I copied the HTML code, and then I went into the Canvas page that Lane has set up for you. And I clicked on the kebab, which is that downward arrow, the 3 dots. And I clicked on the little cloud, okay? And that's going to allow me to embed that HTML code. So here's what, here's what it looks like. When you click on that little cloud, you'll see embed and then embed code. So I took what I copied and I pasted it into the embed code. Now, I have no idea what any of the text means, but I know that it works. And then I hit submit. So that's all you need to do. You click on the kebab, you click on the little cloud, and then you copy that into the embed code and you click submit. And then I save the page, and voila, this is what it looks like in the page. So the next thing to do, once you make this live and you put the page into one of your modules, it's as easy as this. The students will see the directions and the prompt. So it says Active Teaching Lab Practice. They'll see that you're supposed to record a short video sharing what you love about teaching. and then you click on add response. So what happens then once you add response? This is not my best, but this was the picture I had. So I clicked on add response and it gives me a place to record immediately. It will show me myself as I record. The little round button in the center of the video screen bottom is where you press for record, and you just talk. You hit record and you talk. It is that easy for students. They can do it in Canvas, they can do it on their phone, but you just press the button and record. And then once you do that, you press next, and it will allow you to preview your video. So students can record as many times as they want. If they don't like the first video, or they remember something different they wanted to say, they can delete it and just re-record. But then you hit that next button, and then it will allow you, once you preview it, to submit your video. So you can put in a description, that's optional, and you can also put in links, and then you can press submit. And once you hit that submit button, it will give you a chance then it'll pop up on the Canvas page, and then you just save it and the video is there. So I think it would be great for us to practice, because it's so easy for people to say, oh, this is, really simple to do. But I don't think that we really understand until we're in the shoes of students, which is why that Canvas Educators class was so great, because I had to do this as a student to see what it was like on the student side. So what I'm going to ask you to do is you can either log in to the Canvas page for Active Teaching Lab, and you'll want to go to modules. And the first module, that first page, is our practice area. Or you can use this join code or the QR code. Now, again, students will be able to just get in if you've already put their email address in there. But since this group is a special group and we didn't know exactly who was coming to the session, that QR code there will also need a password. So the password is Lane Rocks, capital L-A-N-E, capital R-O-C-K-S, Lane Rocks. And I want you to just take a few minutes now to go in and record a quick video that answers the prompt. And once you record your video, make sure you press save, and you will get an email notification saying that you saved your video. And then you'll also be able to see other people's videos. And I ask that perhaps you respond to continue the conversation with one of them. So take a few minutes to try it out, play with it, and then we'll go from there.
And if you, I'm just gonna put my video up real quick,
Okay.
Sarah, just so everyone can see, if they can see my camera, it should be a picture of, should be the slide. Yeah, there's the Canvas, the course. So it looks like Ed has put the link to the course if you haven't gotten there yet. And this is the front page. This is where you first see when you get in there. And then you just click on modules. And then click on that Active Teaching Lab Flipgrid in Slido, October 5th, 2021. And that will take you to what Sarah was talking about. Does that sound good, Sarah?
Perfect. Yeah. So just take a few minutes, a minute and a half to record a quick video. Just make sure you hit save. And it'll take you'll need that Lane Rocks in order to get in there. The easiest way is to do it through Canvas if you can.
There's a question in the chat that says, I can't make any comments as a guest. I put in the password before I made my video. Do I have to put it in again?
I think they may need to put it in again. And it's fun. I'm seeing all the videos popping up now, which is great.
Yeah, I found if I navigated away from that page and wanted to go back in, I had to add the password again. So it might be the safest thing to do, Barb, if you want to try and add that password again.
So, this is Barbara Wesson. I still I can't make any responses to the videos because it says I'm a guest.
Okay. It might not let you do responses as a guest. And I had
no text responses, but it does let you, like Barbara, I actually on yours, if you look at my image, there's yours, and I made a response just below that. And you can,
Yeah, I know
you
my
click on-
video works.
Yeah, the video
Okay.
one will work. You can't leave text responses, but you can leave video
Right.
responses.
Yeah,
Yep.
I knew that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
It was a good comment too.
Put the student names in, they can leave either text responses or video responses, and they're contained within a group. So we had to kind of fudge things because we just didn't know who was going to be in the active teaching lab today. But know that if you put the student's UWM email in there, that they are able to leave responses.
I see
in
Ed
either-
has a question. Oh, sorry, Sarah. What
Sure.
was that, Sarah?
So in either format, so if students don't want to video record themselves, they can put in text comments.
Awesome. Ed, what was the question?
So I'm bringing a question from the chat forward. Was asked by Sarah McDonald. Question about signing up for Flipgrid. I noticed there's an option to sign up via Microsoft. Is this the best option for us using UWM email?
I can't tell you if it was the best option, but that is the option I used because Microsoft is sponsored through the university. And so I was trying to use university software. And then when I log in with my email address, it integrates perfectly with Canvas. So I think the better option is to use Microsoft, but I can't tell you if it's the best option.
Thanks, Sarah. That's just the information I was seeking. Thanks.
Now I see them, 10 responses.
Awesome.
And I think
Bill, you had a
Bill,
question.
yep.
Yeah, I've got a question. One of the constraints of looking at Canvas, and I'm not gonna put this on my phone at this point. But can you expand the window that you see? Otherwise, you just have to keep scrolling down because Canvas has such a narrow window when you open it up on a computer.
So if you were really technically savvy, when I copied that HTML code, you can change the parameters of the size of the screen. I'm not that tech savvy. So Lane could probably answer that for you, but I am just using it the way that it is. But if you click on a video, the video will expand. But yes, you do have to scroll. And then as the administrator of the account, if you go directly into Flipgrid, it's much bigger and it's much easier to maneuver. But as a student, that's what you would see as a student.
Okay,
I
thank you.
can show you, let's see if I can screen share and show what it would look like on my Flipgrid screen. Let's see if I can do that.
There you go. So yeah, Bill, to answer your question, you can totally. And it's just fiddling with that, what Sarah was saying. Like I did on, if you're looking at my picture, where my picture would be, this is, I expanded it out. And then you could also extend out the y-axis too. It's not difficult. I just click on edit. And this is a copy of what Sarah made. So we aren't on the same page here. And I click on.
So that's from Canvas. Lane, let me show you what it looks like if you go directly into Flipgrid as an educator.
Perfect. Yeah.
That might answer the question a little bit better. Let's see if I can share my screen with you. So here, if I click on Active Teaching Lab, it's going to bring me to my one topic. We've got 11 members in that one topic. If I click on the particular conversation, it will let me scroll down and I can see who participated in that pretty easily. I can go through those posts and those responses. If I click on one of the responses, and then I can click, so you'll see I can click in between the videos as well on that right-hand side. It'll let me toggle between the videos so that I can go back and forth really easily. So it'll let me cross them.
Sorry.
Does that help, Ed?
Yeah, and Bill, we threw a couple things in the chat, and Lane can help you with this, or I can help you with this. I'm sure that when the HTML code comes over, that their default is 600 by 600, and you just need to change the width to 100% and the height to 1000 pixel, and it will fill the page.
Thank you, and I am
we can help.
heavy, so I appreciate that.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
And
I
it's
just
one
don't
of
want
those
to
things
change
too.
Sarah's page midstream and have something go wonky.
Oh, come on, Ed.
Nope, I'm not going there. I like Sarah, and I don't need it. I don't need to be on her enemy list. Nope, not doing it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be on my bad side. Okay, so I haven't been reading everything in the chat. Have we answered most of the questions?
Yep, I'm keeping up on it. Yep, we're good.
Perfect. Okay.
We did have one a while ago. Maybe this got lost, but and I think you kind of handled it too. Like, what if somebody doesn't, want or feel comfortable sharing their
that's right,
video? Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is that if they don't want their face on there, they could, like Lane did a practice one before we went live to make sure it all worked, because it's always good to troubleshoot a little bit. And he just filmed a picture. So they can have their voice in a picture, or they can use text. So if everybody's feeling comfortable with Flipgrid, I want to show you one other tool. I'm not going to walk you through all of the setup, although I will tell you it's fairly intuitive. But this one is Slido. And let me share my screen one more time. So this is where we left off with Flipgrid. So Slido is a different one. And what it does is it's free. That's the most important thing. It's a polling tool. So like Mentimeter or some of the other polling tools, it's simply a polling tool that you can use to ask students questions. And there's a variety of types of questions. You can have multiple choice, you can have open-ended questions. But what I found really helpful is that, one, it integrates with Canvas, which is fantastic. And two, it allows for all students to respond. So it can really increase participation of your students. It can help them engage, and it offers kind of a range of student perspectives. So you get more voice and more differentiation in the responses. So I wanted to try this out with you so that you have an opportunity to kind of see what it looks like from the student perspective. The one thing that I will say is that anytime you use a polling software and it has open-ended questions, just know, and this is true for Flipgrid too, just know that there are possibilities that sometimes students will put in answers that are not appropriate. So you want to have something in your syllabus explaining what would be appropriate or not appropriate, and then reminding students what the parameters are about what's appropriate classroom behavior. So just something to keep in mind, whether you want to choose an open-ended response versus the closed-ended response like multiple choice. But here's a QR code if you want to join Slido on your phone. If you go back into that Canvas page where we practice with Flipgrid and you scroll down, you'll also see a place where you can answer our Slido question of the day. And I'm going to share my screen so that we can see the answers pop up as they come. But before hitting enter on your answer, I just want people to take about 1 minute to type in their answer, and then we'll all hit send at the same time, and the answers will all pop up at the same time. So it gives everybody a chance to think. So let me share that screen with you so you can see what our question is. Just take a moment to share. So the question for you is, how could you use Flipgrid for a particular assignment or class activity? And this is if I log in, this is what it looks like on my end. If I want to click on present, you'll see the way that the answers should pop up for students. It's just going to take a moment. So what's a specific assignment or activity that you would use? Okay, and if you've been holding your answer, now is the time to hit submit and we'll see all of those pop up. So I'm seeing people thinking of this as a nice way to do introductions. I loved doing that with my students because I could ask them some different questions to get to know them really well. And I encourage students to be very creative. And so some people got really fancy and used green screens or told me fun facts about themselves. And so it was a really nice way to build community even before my class started. And I thought that was a really cool way to use it. Absolutely, it's great for discussion board prompts. If there are specific things you want students to know about, that works really well too. Let's see if there's new answers here. So starting with the discussion board prompt, and then Slido, again, this is free, but I like it because you can get some different answers from different people. So right now you can see we had 7 people respond to this. People put in different things. And so you'll get to get those different ideas. And oftentimes I'll have students type in an answer, wait to hit send, and then hit send all at once so that we can call through the whole list. And that way students don't feel like somebody else took their idea, so they're hesitant to submit it. You can also, students can like the different posts, and so that can move them up and down on the Slido poll if you're interested in using that as a tool. So Lane, I think I am at the correct time parameters at this point. Are there questions that I can answer for people?
Bill, I think you had another question.
Yeah, I've got a question more about Flipgrid. Have you tried to use that for responding to students' assignments? Because I've tried to use the embed thing with the videos, and it just, if students have to download it, it's just a pain in the neck. So have you tried that? Do you think that would be effective rather than me typing stuff? Just a quick, hey, this is what I think, you know, on a discussion forum. This is what, you know, a good discussion, good point, but maybe you go in this direction or that direction.
I think it would depend on what kind of comments you're putting in there. If they're directive and it's not like general to the whole class and they're specific to students, you might want to do those recordings right within the Canvas grades. And there's a place to click for video, or you can click the video and then just make it audio. I've been using audio comments for a while. I do warn students, especially when I teach my conflict class, because they turn in conflicts, and I tell them, listen with headphones, but just to make sure I protect student privacy. But that would be really the question is, yeah, when I use Flipgrid and I respond to students, I'm responding to, hey, that's a really neat idea. You might want to also read this research article or look for, you know, information on this, or here's an answer to your question, versus technical grade information that I would put in grades so it's private and protected. Does that answer your question, Ed?
Yeah, I think that's good. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for spending this time thinking with me about how you can use these technologies. I found them incredibly helpful for my students, and being a student in a course and having tried them really helped motivate me to think about ways that I could use them, because they were pretty easy for students to use.